Hear that? They said it's time to rock and roll now. Let's begin with a word of prayer, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for all these assembled here today to do the work of Jefferson County. You, Lord, we're so appreciative and thankful for what You've given us these past years, and we're ever mindful of the source of this and what we need to do and our responsibilities in order to be good stewards of it. Dear Lord, speaking of stewardship, we ask that You be with us as we make these decisions today, and for our citizens of Jefferson County, and keep us and guide us and protect us, so that we do everything in Thy will. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Let's begin with Commissioner Hammonds.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Information technology and economic development. Start with information technology, and Sri is online with us.
We have 4 items for your consideration, and the first item is for our GIS cost-sharing agreement with City of Birmingham, and the same thing for our item number 2, Jefferson County E911. It's for our data sharing agreement, and the third item is Essentially Communications for $59,866.20. And the fourth item is for our Okta JCC Access Identity Management Support and License Renewal for 3 years.
Are there any questions on the item?
Move 1 through 4.
Second.
I have motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I have a number of community grants.
Wait a minute. Why y'all did that so quick? Didn't give me a chance to say nothing? Which part?
Okay.
You have a question on IT?
You just went over the IT part.
Right. If you have a question, we go.
I know, I'm talking about item 1, 3, and 4. Have you went over it?
Yeah, he just went over those. You have questions?
On the IT part?
Yeah.
That's what Sri just did.
No, I had, no.
Different page?
No, yes, I do have a question about,
Just the information technology items is what we voted on.
That's important.
The first one, information technology, City of Birmingham, Jefferson County E911, CenturyLink, and Carousel.
Yeah, just those 4.
okay, I thought I seen another one on, for, the business account.
That's coming up.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Next, we have a number of community grants, and then also support for the Birmingham Business Alliance, which is an annual amount. Jimmy, I was looking on the Coach Safely. Everybody that was already in on that one? Okay. You said you wanted to add 5.
I want to add 5,000 to Coach Safely from my account.
Is he here?
I don't think so. He did also leave gifts.
I just only found out about the school that this year I don't participate.
Okay.
And I'll just move it.
Who is it?
Coach Jack Crow.
Yeah.
I just probably have to do
I mean-
myself, but I had a question.
You want to do 5? Okay, so add for 3 and 4, 5,000 each. There would be a pending change to number 3. Are there any other questions about so school foundations, the Well House, Literacy Council of Alabama, and then also the Birmingham Business Alliance support?
I'm moving.
All right. I have a motion,
I
do I have a second?
want to add 25 to the well house.
2,500?
Yeah.
And the Birmingham Business Alliance, that's coming out of your money?
It's
Out of your community grant?
the economic development.
I
They
have a question.
Okay, and we also have Emily Jerkins Hall and Greg Curran, who's the current chair of the Birmingham Business Alliance, to answer any questions.
Well, let me move 1 through 5 as amended.
All right, we have a motion for 1 through 5, do I have a second?
I do.
Motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, and item 6, Ms. Tyson, you had a question?
Yes, I wanted to know, I have asked this several times about the money that we have. I have no problem with Birmingham Business Alliance using this fund, but I do have a problem with us not funding other organizations that come for funding. Bob Dickinson is one of them that we have not given funding, that do the training. We just gave the Birmingham Business Alliance $750,000, and that was back in August the 11th.
That was for supplier scale,
Right.
which was a Prosper. They're doing that for Prosper, so instead of, they're facilitating that for Prosper, so instead of us giving money to Prosper and then Prosper giving it to the Alliance to do it, we just gave it directly to that is specifically for supplier scale, which supports small business. What they're doing now, this is just their regular funding that helps us facilitate project development, workforce development. They help us with financial analysis when projects come in to be able to better understand what our return on investment is. So we're making better decisions.
And we'll go back to it again.
You're more concerned about other entities?
Right, they
And we
have
can-
asked for money. Barb Dickerson is one of the ones that I have asked for to help small black and minority businesses, and for 3 years, and we haven't got anything. I want to start off on a better scale.
Well, I don't think we've had that conversation. But
I can go back to the minutes.
I'd like to have the conversation. I've only had one conversation with Bob
Okay.
and haven't
Didn't he just get promoted to, did he just assume a new role?
He didn't assume a new role. He just got a promotion within the organization that Bob is in, with Bob Dickerson. So all I'm asking is that Bob is doing a great job. He's doing such a good job that nationally, they promoted him nationally. And even overseas, he even got awarded a promotion there too. But for some reason, Jefferson County is sliding and looking over this organization that is doing work all over the world. And I would like for Jefferson County to recognize that and fund him.
But there's never been an ask.
It's
But
okay, well, we can
I
ask
think it's,
now.
I think it's great that we have the conversation on what specifically that we can put into a contract for services rendered.
Okay, I will call Bob's office today, and I can get a meeting in your office with him.
I've seen him twice in the last 2
Okay,
weeks.
so we can get a.
Happy to have a conversation.
I'll do that, and when we can get a conversation on commission scale that people would mind joining. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
I can't have 3 of them.
Just too many,
Okay. Well, we'll-
Well, if it's for
Yeah, what?
informational purposes.
It's for informational purposes.
What'd you say?
And,
we'll figure that out.
okay.
Yeah, yes.
All right. Any other questions? If not,
Was that a motion?
a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Last item for me is, well, hold on. I also wanted to hand out some information. This is information that comes from the Department of Commerce, but also gives us, we had it broken down per district for over the last couple of years, where we've been in projects and related to each district. That's the first page. The second page, we'll do it by year, which district and what projects were done. And I think, give me just a second. Cal mentioned this not too long ago when starting the refunding process. And now my computer's not acting right. I'll print up a page that shows us where we were ranked in the state. And with 2021 being that we were number 1 in jobs and number 2 in capital investment.
Let me ask this question,
Yes,
Commissioner.
ma'am.
So, for example, we have District 1 is, am I correct in saying is that 395,828,000?
Yes, ma'am. That's over the, from 19 to 22.
That being said, but according to what I'm reading, this table shows that we are probably, we're second in terms of jobs, right? So are these existing projects that the county has a multi-year agreement, and therefore,
Either the county or the state,
well,
or both.
if we're quantifying, are we quantifying Jefferson County only, or are we making this multifaceted, whereas county and state?
No, well, this is projects, I've got it. Oh, yes, ma'am. This is county and state. Sometimes we don't have an agreement because for any given reasons, we didn't do a job incentive, or the county was involved, but a municipality abated our taxes, but we did not do our job incentive or any other incentive other than what is statutorily available that a municipality could do on our behalf.
And so, I think that we need to probably have more in-depth discussions about these economic development projects and so forth, especially being that that's the only real committee that we have for the record. That being said, if in 4 years we're talking about 487 jobs, and yet we're looking at the disproportionate amount that is spent between various districts, that's why I asked, are these existing projects, or are these projects that are new? Because I don't foresee that that we've had much opportunity that has been granted to District 1. So that was the reason why I am asking. If, since you may not have known to provide that information,
Well, in the lot
maybe at the next meeting that you do, because I'd like to see a delineation between what the state gives versus the county, because that's been one of the disadvantages.
Well, this is their capital investment. I mean, as far as breakdown, you're talking about a breakdown on abatements that's done?
No, I'm talking about delineation of the state's participation versus the county's participation.
Okay.
Because if you're looking at this table, then District 1 would be at a disadvantage. I see the $395,828,394, but when you look at the number of jobs actually tell you the amount of activity that is actually happening in the district. So if the jobs are less, then that tells me that there's not much action that's being taken in terms of job growth and recruitment.
Well, and a lot of that is dependent on land availability, and like, for instance, is the airport area in yours?
Yeah,
Okay.
you and I discussed it.
So, like an expansion project we're working on right now is dealing with the brownfield, that we're able to support this company going into a brownfield and redoing the land to be able to reclaim it and use it for economic development purposes.
All that I'm saying, Commissioner, is that before we go into any project, there's 5 of us on the Economic Development Committee. And what I'm saying is that needs to be a discussion that is had not when it's time for a vote, and it needs to be had when there's discussion. And, you know, Birmingham is not my only part of the district, so I would be interested in knowing what these other areas that are not so much landlocked, what can be provided. And so, again, I'll wait for another opportunity when you have more information.
Okay.
But I will tell you, as commissioner for that district, whatever conversations that are had, I need to be brought in immediately as opposed to at the time when we're getting ready to make a decision.
Okay.
Okay? Appreciate it.
Is this published by Commerce?
Yeah, Department of Commerce does that in their annual report, and the annual report is available on their website. The detail per district is on the following pages, but they have even more detail in our rankings in the state, which actually one of those should be, actually those dates are off a little bit. We'll need to send a corrected copy to you guys, but to give you an example, and Cal mentioned this a while back, in 2021, we were number 1 in job announcements and number 2 in capital investment. In 20, we were 1 and 4. 19, we were 4 and 5. And 18, we were 2 and 4.
Do they have a list of what kind of jobs are there? Is it any way I can get that?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll break it down
Mike, can you make sure you
per
get a list
sector.
of what kind of jobs? Are those living wage jobs? Are they jobs paying $8 an hour? I would love to see that, and because that's more important. Having a job is good, but having a living wage job is that means you can survive.
And that's why we don't incentivize anything less than $50,000 a year.
So I would love to get that.
I'll see if that's available.
Yeah, and you can see, look at your different pages, Commissioner, the Back 40 Brewery in your district. Back 40 Brewery in Buffalo Rock,
I seen
DSW
all of that.
Cutting.
But that don't mean
Onyx.
Buffalo Rock don't pay living wage. So don't let me get
Buffalo
started.
Rock there, a lot of folks work there.
Well, then I know my son-in-law worked there, so don't get me started.
I wanted to make sure you guys were up to date on, and the breakdown per district to give you guys a better idea of what's going on, but how we are continuing to do better. A vast majority of that is having availability of land. DDA, along with the county, is working on currently 52 projects, and purely because of availability of land, 25% of those projects are looking at one piece of property we have. So a big focus is going to have to be finding property, and the property at greater than average acreage, 25 acres or better, to land any given project. That's why some of these areas, like Baldwin County, we had they had a mega site where they landed a huge. I forget what that was. Do you remember what that was? Novalis, yes. That's the only reason that we're not 1 and 2 every year is because these mega site projects come in and they bring in 2,000 jobs and huge capital investment.
Let me ask you something real quick. On these jobs category, it has some numbers, and then some have 0. I mean, is this
So
additions?
some of them may have been like expansions where they expand, like we did for Gestamp, where they may not have added any jobs, but they added new equipment, and it was an increased capital investment.
Okay.
All right, and I have one other item, and purely because there is an EDPA conference coming up, and we didn't want to put this off too much longer. Mr. Phillips, we were going to do this on Thursday, but he's not going to be able to be here, and how important it is to recognize folks that have done a fantastic job at the county. So we've had those 30-year pins that were given out, and Othell, having been my chief of staff for 4 years, and for Commissioner Carrington before that, wanted to present him with a resolution. I figured do it here in front of the folks that he worked with on a regular basis. Were you really on the dean's list? That's, yeah. But it's.
I don't know what that says. But
Well, I'll hit the highlights. Where Bethel served as mayor of Gardendale between 2008 and 2015, and he decided to come to work for Commissioner Carrington. He was the president of O. Phillips Mortgage Group in 2002, and so he was elected mayor of Gardendale. It's on the dean's list. I find that hard to believe. I think somebody in college, Tiffany. At UAB in political science and government after graduating from Jeff State in a degree of business administration. As he's pursuing his new role, which we just talked about a little bit with finding land at JCIDA, all of his roles supporting not only the Jefferson County Mayors Association, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, Gardendale Chamber of Commerce, Board of Directors in Zamora. He has happily been married to his high school sweetheart of 29 years. He's the proud father of Tucky and Cheney Phillips. Tucker. I said Tucker, didn't I? Tucky. That was a little bit of Mayor Tuck. And everybody knows Othell is an avid Alabama football fan, and all of his time in softball with his daughter, Cheney, and in baseball with his son, Tucker. It's been signed by all the county commissioners appreciating your service and your continued service for Jefferson County education.
Okay, you got a frame.
Smile.
That's all you get, is a piece of paper. You don't get a frame.
Well, I had no idea I was getting this. He said, "Can you come down and meet Thursday?" I said, "I can't. I got DPA." And he said, "Well, how about Tuesday?" And I said, "Oh God, what have we done now?" But that was a surprise. Thank you all very much for this, and thank you all for all signing this. I appreciate several years of working with this group. Like he said earlier, this county came from a bankruptcy to number one job creation and human capital investment. So I think that's a pat on the commission's back and work with BBA and Commerce and others to get to that point. And appreciate it. My dad told me one time when I was elected the first time, he said, "Do two things, son." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "Always treat people the way you want to be treated and never get too big for your britches." So I've tried to do that. Tried to do those two things, and sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes when you want to punch somebody in the face or something, you got to hold back. So, but I sure do appreciate all of y'all, and thank you. It's a surprise, and looking forward to continuing moving the county forward. So we got a lot of projects working at JCIDA right now. We got about 4 buildings going up. If you'll have to look at our parties, I'll be happy to show you all around, and we thank you for everything, and appreciate that. It was a great surprise. So.
Don't have a seat.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to say to you, first of all, congratulations. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of those wonderful reports that, being that you know how critical that is to Jefferson County moving forward, that we'll see you not just today, but we're going to be seeing you much more so that we can know exactly what the county's $10 million is going toward. I know you're going to be very fruitful. The reason why I think that you were chosen to be here as long as you have is because of your economic development background. So I won't be surprised that if I hear you saying that you have 10 projects going at one time. And I just want to be able to see it in District 1, 2, And I'm sure that it will, because you have a heart for Jefferson County as a whole. And so I want to say congratulations to you. You know my private name for you. I said it publicly, but I won't anymore because I know you don't like it. But just know I respect your transition. It's been very insightful. and I want you to know I'm proud of you. Yep, you're welcome.
I agree with her, and you've been a stalwart down the hall, and now we'll be a stalwart over to JCIDA, and gonna find some land, we're gonna bring some more jobs here, right?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
You know, when you said what your dad said, I said, you know, my dad told me the same thing. And it must be pretty good advice. He said one other thing. He said, don't forget where you came from. Don't ever forget home. So put your family first. God bless you. Appreciate you.
My dad added one more thing down that. He said, something on knock you out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
You don't have to study. You can go to work.
Okay. Thank you all tomorrow. Appreciate it. All right.
That ends my report, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Knight.
Bye, Miss Emily. See ya.
Greg, thank you for coming.
I'll say the county's been our number one partner for the BGA, so really thank the commission for that, and they're working hard to justify your investment in the BGA. But we appreciate it.
Thank you for your service on the BDA as chair, so appreciate that too.
And there's a reason why, Greg, is that we see results.
Well, we're working hard, this team's working hard, so we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you later. All right, finance. I have Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item number 1 is our unusual demand
I'll
report.
move 1 through 8.
Well, we're pulling number 5.
We are pulling number 5, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So will you move?
I'll move 1 through 4 and 6 through 8.
All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Under Budget Management Office, we have multiple staff development, individual staff development, and informational items.
I mean, did we do the quadrant and FLS?
Oh, you didn't, okay. Item number 9 is Quadient. It's a lease contract for a machine that will be used for the online, well, for our bid process. We actually haven't been able to use our online bid process, so we're having to do the mail out. So this will assist with efficiency related to bid mail out. Under number 10 is the foreign language services, and it's in addition to the contract that currently exists. It's $50 per hour for American Sign Language, and it'll be used as needed. Do you have any questions related to those 2 items?
Do I have a motion on 9 and 10?
I'll move. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
I'll move DMO and staff development.
Thank you.
Have a motion?
I'll move. Second, whatever.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Developmental services. We have, it's my understanding, C220046 has been moved to the next agenda.
That's correct, that's correct. We're going to lump that with all the other cases that have public hearings.
All right, so this is, we'll get it to be 22007.
Yes, sir, this is a request for a transfer of a license to sell off-premise beer and wine. This is at a convenience store located at 1301 Short Creek Road. This site has a long history of sale of off-premise beer and wine. Most recently, it had a transfer back in August of last year, so it's only been 15 months since we've had the last transfer. And the applicant's criminal record checks out.
I move to the agenda.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
EMA, we have a Everbridge FY23, the mass notification system renewal.
Hey, Joe, there's-
What about planning and zoning board appointment guidelines?
There it is. All right.
If you'd like, we can do that at the end of your agenda.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, just over the past few years, we've had some problems with obtaining quorums. We've had to cancel some meetings. So I just wanted to briefly kind of go over our guidelines for what we need to do to appoint planning and zoning commission members. According to our state law, and we've got the slideshow on the screen, we were enabled to zone by a general act of local application. They basically gave the power of any county having a population more than 400,000 people at the time this was enacted in 1947, the right to zone. Jefferson County alone is the only county in Alabama that zones from county line to county line. Shelby County has beat zoning, Baldwin County has beat zoning. We have zoning for the entire county. And in 1986, there was a local act specific to Jefferson County that dictated the personnel of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And it states that the Jefferson County Commission shall divide the county into 6 districts, with each district containing an approximately equal number of persons residing in unincorporated territory. Newly appointed or reappointed members of such commissions shall be appointed so that the county commission shall appoint 2 members from each of these districts that are devised, with 1 member representing the unincorporated territory, so at least 50% of the total 12 appointed members shall reside in and represent the unincorporated territory. Now, there are 3 designated members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. One is someone from the Health Department, the other is the county engineer, and the other one is, quote, an employee of the county. Since my tenure on or being employed with the county, we've never filled the position that was the employee of the county. Okay. It also states that designated members shall be agreed to and approved on by the commission, and that all other members shall be appointed by the county commission, and no appointed member of the board shall hold public office. Currently, we had someone on the Planning and Zoning Commission that was elected to a local city council that, again, had to roll off the board because it doesn't comply with this particular element of our legislation. I've got with our county GIS staff and our staff, and what we've done is we have completed our districting of the county based on the most recent each district, or the mean population we were shooting for, was 19,199, which, because we serve a population of 115,196 in the unincorporated areas of Jefferson County, based on the census estimates as best we can figure. That population, by the way, is the 5th largest zoning jurisdiction in the state, and we also have the largest zoning jurisdiction in the state based on area. All right? And if you go to the next slide, that gives you a better idea. So that's an up-close and personal of where these districts are. You'll see that we've got one District 4 that comes from McCalla and goes all the way into Hoover. District 5 goes from Hoover all the way to the St. Clair and Blount County line. We've got District 6, which goes from Mountain Brook and goes all the way to Kimberly. District 1, which goes from Birmingham Southside to Corner. District 2, which goes from West Homewood all the way up to like Sayre, Graysville, up Highway 78. And then District 3, which covers Fairfield, Midfield, Bessemer, and then the rural areas to the western portion of the county. And again, all these districts are devised with this goal of having half incorporated residents, half unincorporated residents. So this explains sort of the funny sheet that we got, or the funny shape of the districts that we have. Here's our roster as what it's going to look like as of January 2023. And you see those vacant spots. We've got to work on filling where those vacant spots are coming from in order to secure quorum so that we can conduct business. And again, that does include the designated position or the designated vacancy for that employee of the county, which is something that has to be agreed upon by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Now, this raises an interesting conundrum, because on your next slide, what we've got is I've overlaid where the county commission districts are in relation to where the Planning and Zoning Commission districts are. And you'll see it's a big sloppy spaghetti mess, which makes it kind of difficult for commissioners to appoint people specifically within their districts. Our past policy has always been that each commissioner has 2 appointments, and we give an extra, because there's 12 appointed positions, we give an extra appointments to commissioners of districts 3 and 4, simply because those districts have the most unincorporated population. Now, after thinking about it and taking a look at our maps and everything else and seeing how the county commission districts have changed, we're going back and double checking just to be sure that it's 3 and 4 that still have the most unincorporated residents. Under this current policy, the Commissioners Tyson and Stephen each have 1 appointment to make, and Knight has 2. So these vacancies that we've got, the first district is P&Z District 2, which again goes all the way from West Homewood to Graysville and Adamsville. You get incorporated areas west of 65. You got North Birmingham, parts of Homewood, parts of Adamsville, Graysville, Brookside. You also get the unincorporated communities of Forestdale, North Smithfield Manor. You have parts of Mount Olive, Docena, Edgewater, and McDonald Chapel. And in this, we have to, appointed member can come from either the unincorporated or incorporated areas. Again, the goal is to have as much representation from the unincorporated areas as you can, as that's the population that we serve. The other district vacancy we've got is in District 3, which includes your cities of Pleasant Grove, Hueytown, Fairfield, Midfield, Bessemer. You've got certain parts of Birmingham. I believe Inslee's in this district. You've also got the communities along the Warrior River. You've got Concord, you've got Adger, and you've got Rock Mountain Lakes, Alliance, and Oak Grove. And again, we need 2 appointments. 1 member must come from the unincorporated areas from District 3. And lastly, we have a vacancy in District 6, which the member can come from an unincorporated or incorporated areas. And again, areas in this district include East Lake, Roebuck, Centerpoint, Clay, Morris, Kimberly, parts of Mountain Brook, Irondale, Trussville, and includes the unincorporated communities of Grayson Valley, Croston, Chalkville, and Bradford. All right, again, going back to this, we need 8 members that are required for a quorum. Since we came from COVID back in 2020, we've had to cancel 4 hearings due to lack of quorum, which results in 1 month delay in folks getting permits and thus completing processes for development. For next month's hearing, what we plan to present to you is a resolution approving the P&Z districts that we've come up with. We also plan on having a resolution approving the currently serving designated members of P&Z, not withholding the 1 vacancy for the member of the, or I'm sorry, employee of the county that is a vacancy, and then a resolution adopting the calendar of meeting dates for both the P&Z BZA and the County Commission zoning hearing. Now, in order to get appointments on by the January meeting, the last County Commission meeting date to do such would be the January 12th, and that is also the date of the first Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the year. So, again, we need help.
Well, now, the zoning districts, the
Yes.
1 through 6, is that by legislation?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's
So
by a
there's-
1986 local act.
So there's no way to change that in the short
That is
run.
correct. It would take an act of the legislature.
And I know one of my members I appointed just moved up to the BZA, right?
No, you've got a member that's, we talked about possibly reappointing that member because she had served 2 terms. Again, going back to another caveat that I just discovered yesterday, we've always had the policy that you could serve 2 consecutive terms and then you'd have to roll off. Well, I found in looking at some minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission, just by chance in the 1986 minutes, that in 1975, the County Commission passed a resolution that limited the Planning and Zoning Commission to 2 consecutive terms. So I want to take a look at that resolution to see if we can reappoint someone who has had a break-in survey.
Now, that's our resolution that we.
A 1975 resolution, yes.
That we limited it to 2 terms.
That's correct.
So we can change that and make it 3 or 4 or.
That's true. Now, I will say that our enabling legislation does limit to terms of 4 years, but it doesn't speak to being allowed to reappoint or not. That makes sense.
The 75 legislation, does it, or the resolution, does it limit to just 2 consecutive terms, or just 2 terms period and never be appointed again?
It says 2 consecutive terms in the minutes that I looked at, which is why I want to take a look at what the resolution speaks in 1975. And I was going to get after Millie after she's done pulling her hair out from dealing with these meetings.
So what do you want us to do?
Like I said, we're just making you aware of the vacancies that are on the board, where these people have to come from, and like I said, we're going to have to take some action. I don't know, in the past what we've done is we've gone to each individual commissioner and explained this, but I think it's better to have this broad discussion with everybody at one time, just so we could better coordinate.
You also said that no member has ever been appointed as an employee of the county?
That is correct.
Why?
I don't know. And when I first came, that spot was designated for someone from the commissioner's office who had our committee. But, you know, if we designate a spot for a commissioner, it's clearly in conflict with, it states that nobody on the board can be an elected official.
Right, but somebody that works in your office is not.
That may too present a conflict because they may have interest in the cases that are being presented or may have knowledge and everything else. You know, it may be good to get someone from Environmental Services, someone from Roads and Transportation, someone from Board of Equalization, appraiser, property appraiser.
I talked with him just a minute ago and said someone like Wayne Campbell who has knowledge of everything that's been going on and would be good if it could be up to Cal and help out. So
So it's manager, a manager recommendation for who needs, to the commission on who that needs to be.
Could be. I mean, the appointment is made by the commission, so.
But if it's an employee, the Cal, as the manager, the manager should be the one making the recommendation on who that should be.
It was 3 anyway. How about that? 3 weeks, on that way, it's our appointment, his recommendation.
So the individual commissioner won't be able to make an appointment, is what you're saying?
Well, what we've always done is we've yielded to, each commissioner has 2 appointments, and we try to guide who that appointment could be based on these geographic areas. And currently, you have a vacancy because, again, it was one of your appointments that was elected to city council. And of course, again, that conflicts with state law. So again, there's a district that's vacant that covers most of your home territory, covers parts of Forestdale, covers parts of North Smithfield Manor, all the way up to Brookside, Adamsville. If you've got somebody,
I already got somebody.
there we go. If you would just, if you would send us an address just so we can verify that they meet that district requirement, we can assist you with getting those resolutions put together.
Michael?
Yeah, because if I'm hearing correctly, what's being proposed is that Cal would make the I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to commissioners now, is that you would make recommendations in terms of if they are county employees? Is that what's being proposed?
There's one position that's never been filled that is a county employee's position. And the suggestion was made that Cal give us 3 names for the commission to choose from county employees. And everything else remains the same, Michael. If it's not broken, don't try to change it.
That's correct.
Okay, everything else will remain the same. So why don't we propose giving each commissioner their district with its boundaries and the vacancies and where the new appointees should come from, and let them make their appointments, just like they've always done. And stress the importance to get it done quickly. And make sure that with the commissioners, understand that it's someone that needs to show up and that someone needs to be active in work. Would that take care of everything you need?
Say that again, Jim.
I can't say all right.
Well, it sounds like what you just said is leave everything as it is in its current state, with the exception that Cal, and on behalf of the employee portion of it, but then make a recommendation in terms of 3 potential candidates for us to consider.
Pretty
Is that what
much.
we're saying?
Okay.
Each commissioner gets 2, and then there's an additional, because it's a 12-member board, we've always yielded 2 additional appointments to the 2 commissioners who have the most unincorporated areas,
But
or the most unincorporated population.
But those maps make it difficult because
Correct.
a lot of that stuff isn't even in my commission district.
That's correct. Because like I
I
said,
mean, like, I can't appoint anybody from trust,
right,
which don't make any sense.
right. Well, like I said, again, that's just how we have to,
All right.
we had to come up with how these district lines work.
All right.
Can we change the district lines? We could, I don't know, it was kind of difficult to get them in the position that they're in.
Could you have like our commission districts as they are now, and then the 6th is an overlay for the entire county?
As an overlay for the entire county?
Yeah,
Like an at-large.
yeah.
No, well, I mean, again, it speaks specifically to drawing districts equally unincorporated and equally incorporated, which that creates the
In the
most.
statute.
Well, yes, which that creates the most problems for appointments for districts 5 and 2, which are largely incorporated districts.
Commissioners, I think what he's trying to say is that he's trying to bring it to your attention that he's about to have a significant deficit. And so that you guys need to get together and produce some appointments as soon as possible.
And make sure y'all stress for them to come, because probably the first project they'll do may be an economic development project. They're going to be on the line, and if we don't have a forum, that'll be or somebody's massive project, and y'all know how it goes.
Monthly, we meet the 2nd Thursday of each month. Our meeting is at 1 o'clock. We generally have a pre-meeting that starts at noon. You know, we're typically in and out within a few hours.
That's short term, so that, and this is very convoluted and difficult, as government normally is.
Yeah.
Is there a legislative remedy that we could look at to fix this for the long term?
Of course, that's
That's where I was going.
Okay.
That's all up to you guys. The
We need recommendations and suggestions.
prior to this act, the original 1947 legislation, it just basically spoke to having 12 appointments by the county commission. It was this 1986 act that went through that went into all this districting thing. So it may just be a matter of repealing that act, or modifying that act so that maybe perhaps we're just ensured that half the appointments are from the unincorporated areas, at least half.
Which brings me to the reason why I said we need to have a legislative agenda. Because obviously some of the things that could be very simple that we could decide here, we don't have an enabling legislation to allow us to do it. I'd be interested in knowing, when has the legislature already, the session has already begun?
March.
Okay, so then maybe perhaps this might be something that everyone can go and talk to their friends and see what can be done, because it's another item on here that I'd be interested in us having a discussion. So meeting is fine, but if we don't have any transference of enabling legislation to help us to do what we need to do, this is really simple. And I would hope to think that what we could do is overlay the planning and zoning districts over our actual commission districts. But you just don't have it.
One of the problems that we've had is getting everyone together. We need to have a kind of an afternoon retreat to do this, to come up with our legislative agenda. And like we've been saying this since September, I think, or August. And we're, let me finish here. And then, when we do that, we need to sit down and meet with our legislators prior to the legislative session and have that intent relayed to them so we're on the same page and have the bills pre-filed and make sure that we do have good sponsors for them and get it done. We've got some that has to be.
We're polling y'all's staff to meet the second week in January, so y'all can work with us on that schedule.
I've seen that you got at least 3 responses so far.
Yeah, it was December last, I saw.
And we couldn't get everybody together on that one.
On your
Not
schedule.
today where,
On your schedule.
or y'all wouldn't know.
What day can you meet and do something? About that. You know, we can do that. All right.
All right. Mike, good job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That was good information. All right, now, we will move on to EMA.
Move the item.
Have a motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. General Services.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
General Services has 6 items on the agenda this morning. Marine Construction, Family Court Roof Replacement. Item number 2, Pool and Company, the 7th Avenue Parking Deck. This will be Phase 1. It's a feasibility study. Diversified Elevator Service and Equipment Company. This is for the elevator maintenance and repair for all of the elevator cabs throughout our portfolio. Item number 4 is Amendment 2 for Birchfield, Penuel and Associates for the Jefferson County Animal Care and Control Facility. This particular amendment is addressing traffic signal design and preliminary plat package. Item number 5 is Premier Boiler and Combustion, LLC. This is just a location change of 3 boilers. Item number 6 is Amendment 3 for the lease agreement for Shirley Banks, doing business as the Scenic View Cafe and Catering, LLC.
Okay, I have items 1 through 6. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll do a second, but can I ask a question of number 4?
Have a motion?
Sure.
Discussion.
You said for the animal control, is this about the roundabout? Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner. It's more of a road. I believe someone can probably give you additional information, but there's two scopes of work that's associated with the amendment. It's the traffic signal design and the continued coordination for the utility providers.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. All right, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, District 4, we have community grants, JCR3 grants. Item 4, Tana Morris. We have the public service grant for Jefferson County Cooperative. Russell City Schools, community grant, JCR3, Jefferson County Board of Education. All right, have a motion.
1 through 11.
Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Good morning. Administrative and Infrastructure Committee, Roads and Transportations. There are several items here. It's like 10 items. First is the McPherson Oil contract. How did we do that? How many respondents do we have on that?
I'm not sure.
I need to know. Yeah, you know, if we're doing an RFP, you know, how many people responded to the RFP? Because the way fuel is now.
Yeah, it was competitive.
Yeah, and God, I know the bill, I want another response. Lipscomb paving agreement,
That's an agreement to assist the city with some work that they requested. They're paying for it.
the gateway beautification
Yeah,
maintenance.
that
That's
is,
the interchange?
it's a permit that we have to hold with AlDOT in order to access the right of ways to do the work.
Now, that's been a very good project. It was initiated because of the World Games. World Games are over, but the interchanges are still looking good, and we still have our partners in place. We're still moving forward.
For 3 years,
3 years.
Year 2 now?
Yeah.
1.5.
Infotech,
This is our Appia service license. This is a piece of software that we use for bidding construction projects.
name change to Adamson.
I'm gonna move 1 through 10.
1 through 10, thank you, Commissioner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The county attorney, we have an agreement to extend joint billing collection agreement for the Birmingham Water Works Board and the property damage claim for MK Incorporated in the minutes to our organizational meeting.
In addition to that, Commissioner, recently received in conjunction with what we're talking about with regard to animal control, we have just gotten it, but we asked to put an amendment to our existing land agreement with U.S. Steel to make some amendments so that we can move forward with this roundabout project. One of them is where they will deed a portion of that land right away to us so that we can move the roundabout, and the other part will be a licensing agreement so that we can store our equipment on a portion of their property to complete that process. So I just received that yesterday, but it's kind of time sensitive, so I'll be asking if you would put that on as new business, subject to our review and approval for Thursday.
So it's just unanimous consent on Thursday?
Correct. Well, it would be, if you're all right with putting it on, with me adding it as new business today, then it would go on the regular agenda.
I'll
We
move
haven't
for
seen it
unanimous
today.
consent
For
for immediate
which-
consideration of one item.
Second.
With this item 2,
No, it's not on there.
And what I'm saying, it's going to be an amendment to the contract which you already have, and it will be a deeding of right-of-way from U.S. Steel so that we can move the roundabout, and a licensing agreement so that we can store our equipment on part of their property.
So it's
to
just
move
one
the
agreement or
roundabout.
two agreements?
It'll be one agreement. It'll be an amendment to our existing agreement to do those
But when you
things.
say move the roundabout, are you saying put it in place?
Correct.
Okay. Because you gotta move the road. You gotta
Correct,
move that road.
but we needed to have the deed for it to be our property in order for it to
To get
move
the right of
forward.
way.
Correct.
Okay. And there's something else you said that piqued my interest too.
An agreement for us to store our stuff on part of their property while we're doing the construction.
But did we purchase lot one?
I got the numbers mixed up. The purchase would be contingent on the completion of what we're doing here with the roundabout.
I know, but when we purchased, did we purchase lot two and lot one? Because we can store our equipment on lot one if we own it. Think we do. I'll go with.
I would, it's not gonna cost us anything, but I would defer to roads
Store it
in
on their
terms of.
stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So because I know it's been moved and seconded, but after Commissioner Tyson, I'm going to yield to her, but I definitely want to speak to item number one, please.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask about.
Number one.
Appreciate you doing that, Bill. That was a lot of
Vote
moving
on
parts in
unanimous
this.
consent
Right.
first.
If you
Move
But I'm
for
saying-
unanimous consent.
Yeah, we
Why
already have
were
a
you-
motion in the second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Mr. President, let me speak.
No, all we did was that one item.
If there's no question.
But I'm trying to figure out how did that, you had a motion on the floor for the items that were already
that's true.
presented, not the item that was asked for new business. I'm trying to figure out
Oh, I
how did
didn't
you
know.
take it out of the
Oh,
order?
I didn't hear a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a motion, you did 1 and 2, and then I thought we were up for discussion and that we would also entertain,
I think
that our
it-
county attorney has suggested that we consider right now.
You're correct. I moved 1 through 10 a second, and then we.
But this is different. This is 1, 2, 3.
No,
Yeah.
no, but there was a motion on
That's
the
right.
floor for items 1 through 3. And
Gotcha.
then, that's when
Okay.
yeah, it was, that's when
That's right.
Commissioner Tyson also wanted to speak. And then, that's when we got off into this additional new item of business, new business, rather.
Okay.
So if we could go back to the motion that's currently on the floor, meaning that we have items 1 through 3 to be considered, you got a motion and then you got a second.
Right.
And so now we're open for discussion.
Right. Okay. You're right.
Thank you. And so I yield to Commissioner Tyson, but I know I want to speak to item number 1.
With this agreement with the collection of
That was.
the water bill, so we just gonna extend it 10 months, we gonna discuss the collection, right?
It's,
For
right,
6 months.
it's 6 months. We're currently in discussions and dealing with that, but our current contract would expire in December. So all this does is maintain status quo for 6 months until we can negotiate and come up with something different. But we would have no contract and no collection if we don't extend it.
So with the overcharge of the customers, does that not affect our sewer being overcharged too?
It does. And but we would have, and the whole point behind this is we're negotiating and looking at that. We need to maintain status quo so that we do have collections in place until we can get this squared away.
So with the reimbursements of overcharge, will we have to reimburse any of the sewer money? Now, you know, no matter which way, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You know.
So I just want to make sure that this doesn't have anything to do with that aspect of it, just make sure that we have a collection method in place. We're still dealing with them.
But the collection method they have is not good, because if it was, they would be overcharging these people all this money. So what are we going to do about
Well, they
the way
say
they
they
collect
have
it?
corrected.
No, they hadn't, because I got 10 calls since
I'm
Friday,
just saying.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 calls, and I got the text right here.
I've got one too.
I got where people have texted me their bills, so they are not $103,000
Yeah, that,
for a 91-year-old woman coming through her mailbox with that kind of numbers on there, give you a heart attack.
I don't disagree with you at all. This is extended so that we can have our bills put out until we can get all this squared away. And otherwise, we'd have no collection method.
So we gonna have to do something, because they ain't collecting it right. They making us look bad. Then they tried to, they said to the media, well, then ain't nobody saying nothing about them going up on the sewer.
It has nothing to do with
It has nothing to do with you overcharging people. trying to throw it back on us because they don't know how to do their job.
Yeah, it's just prudent that we continue where we're going right now while we work on that remedy.
So,
Make sure we do that.
So, Commissioner Stevens, that being said, that is the point that I wanted to bring up. I understand that this is an extension of the existing agreement that we have. However, I would ask that this item be brought under our committee, and I'm going to explain why. Because one of the things that has been brought up already, that I know that what we're paying for based on the information that I'm receiving, I think it would behoove the general public to also have information as we're getting it. The public needs to know. I just recently learned that the kind of money that we are spending in order for us to do this combined billing for the same information that the Waterworks Board would need to collect on its own anyway is absolutely ridiculous. I believe that if we approach this very judiciously, I think that here's a cost savings if we approach it right that we can be able to do just based on the Waterworks Board already has to collect certain data. And the data is basically what we are paying for as a part of our commitment. So based on what I'm hearing and the amount that we, a suggested amount that we should be paying for information, I think that needs to be explored. I don't think that we just extend without having a conversation.
Well, I think we have to extend so that we can.
No. I'm saying that we need to do what we need to do today.
Yes.
However, what I'm asking for is for that to be brought under this environmental services, because, of course, that's the committee we have, and I've spoken with the county manager as relates to this. What I think needs to be done is that the Waterworks Board needs to come before this commission. And a part of them coming before this commission is so that we and the general public can have an understanding exactly how much the county is paying for the same data that the Waterworks Board is already having to encumber for its own use. If the general public knew that, then that would also address what Commissioner Tyson was talking about as relates to people giving a narrative of their own for their own benefit. You understand? Yeah. And once I realized that the amount of money that we're paying for this same data and what we should be paying versus what we're paying is several $1 million. So when we're talking about cost savings that will go back to the ratepayers, that will show us doing our fiduciary part in terms of making sure that we're getting the best rate at the most cost efficient price.
It'll also help on the refinance. I
agree with all of it. I'm trying to preserve some of my words because we're in a public meeting, and that's what you was about. So I'm being very cautious in that. I realize that, but I'm saying that if we proceed cautiously, I just believe that we would place ourselves in a position that it would be good for the county.
That's what the negotiations are set to accomplish. And that's what you've been working on for.
I get that point.
Great deal. Right now, we're kind of at an impasse, and we're working to get that done.
Commissioner, we'll make sure that we update you on negotiations as they move forward, but right now it's...
That's the point. I personally want to make sure that I'm a part of those meetings, but I'm not disengaging anyone else who wants to be a part of it. I'm just making sure that we understand that some of the dynamics that I learned that goes beyond the soundbite, and that's not on us. But if the general public believes that we somehow are doing something that is infringing upon their income, that makes a difference. And you know, we don't want the public to take matters into their own hands because they feel like their representatives are not doing what they can do to try to protect their interests. So that's why I was saying if the entire commission, as a part of an information session, understood everything. But what I am asking, respectfully, Mr. President, is that once we get beyond this contract, if we would put this under our committee, the committee that's been assigned, so that we can engage in a real meaningful discussion in terms of how we proceed forward. But I think the commission would be very enlightened if they realize what we're paying for the type of information that we're receiving. It's ridiculous.
So back to your motion to unanimous consent to,
No, but don't we need to pass 1 through 3 first?
no, are we back to that?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion for 1 through 3?
We
I
didn't have
thought
a
you did.
motion.
Okay.
Okay.
We didn't have a motion.
We'll move items, well, just for clarity, move items 1 through 3.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll move for unanimous consent for consideration of
Second.
one new item.
All right, motion been made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you
The
very much.
item to the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. That'd be great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have next county manager, I have a resolution to
County manager.
reclassify a budgeted payroll for district infrastructure. Need a motion.
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. PIO.
Granicus.
You want to do that, Helen?
What is
Yeah.
Granicus?
This is a Granicus. It's an online tool that will provide us the ability to create a newsletter for citizens and a sign-up tool that they can sign up on our website and be able to get them information in another format, in a way, and more often.
How often will this newsletter be published?
I want to start with once a quarter, and if we can manage that, then I would like to do it frequently and do to maybe monthly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I move aye.
Motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. I have one other item, District 3, McCullough Area Fire District Board Trustees. Motion been made,
Second.
seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Be you now, Commissioner Tyson.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I think I have Dr. Hamilton, Department of Community Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 3 items this morning. First is a community grant for the operations of the Gardendale Senior Center in the amount of $15,000 for operational cost. Number 2 is a resolution pertaining to One Roof Cares Act. This is our ESG, or Emergency Solution Grant, Coronavirus Funds Amendment Number 4. HUD basically is reallocating funds from some other entities that were slow in spending, and so they're giving Jefferson County additional $275,000 to be used for emergency shelters, homeless prevention, and rapid rehousing. Number 3 is a cooperation agreement for the Irondale General Fund Storm Shelter, which basically lays out the responsibilities for the county and the city of Irondale.
Move 1, 2, 3.
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Family Court, James Fields, are you on the line? This is a, okay,
Morning.
go ahead, James.
Yes, ma'am. Jefferson County Family Court has partnered with the Jefferson County Family Resource Center in regards to the workforce development project that we are embarking on. At this particular time, this would give the Jefferson County Family Resource Center an opportunity to work with at-risk youth in a work development capacity, along with providing with educational opportunities that they otherwise would not receive. And that's basically all we have on the agenda for this morning.
I move the item.
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Monique, from Youth Detention.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am asking to withdraw this right now and ask that it be placed on a different agenda date. The vendor has requested that we amend the start date of the program, and so I'll seek to withdraw it today.
So we're pulling it, not passing it, right?
We're pulling it.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Monique.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheriff's Department. Wayne. Okay.
That's indigent care
This is
fund
the-
transfer for the money that we
Yes.
already have.
It's budgeted already.
It's already
It's budgeted,
budgeted.
there you go.
Well, you know, there's gonna be new prisoners housed at the jail.
Yes,
And,
from the city.
and that's, I got some concerns about, is this gonna be paid for those two? I'll find out. That's a concern.
You want me to?
No, we'll go ahead and transfer it. But I just had that question.
I asked that too.
Yeah. And Angela, how much money you go to transfer?
The 1.89.
Only 1.89?
Yeah, it's actually, task also comes out before we transfer the funds to, healthcare authority. So this is the amount that's remaining outside of task.
You know,
But my cost is that medical costs going to increase because we got
Because of
80 or
them.
90 new prisoners? And is that money going to be allocated to them also? And if it is, are they going to be, we need a sheriff's department on the line, but does that mean that the money, they're going to come back and ask us for more funding because they don't have the funds to take care of it?
Or is that absorbed in Birmingham's contract?
Yeah, well, the contract consists of transferring money to, I think it's money to that contract. It's a line.
It should, we just need to make sure they cover, all the costs, all the overheads, all the industry costs, everything.
Cause it's some money attached to the
It's going to
contract.
be more food costs, it's more dishwasher costs.
I have it for you
More
Friday, Thursday.
Okay.
I
It's
have it
very
for you
important,
Thursday.
or we're gonna eat it.
Because from my understanding, it was a budget added to that contract, but I'll give you all the documents.
It's usually a cost per prisoner.
Yeah, it's 65 or something.
Yeah, and
But that's what I heard. I don't
No,
know.
this is just what
But
comes out of
still,
indigent care.
does that cover everything?
I'll let you know.
Especially the healthcare, I know that they have two people on dialysis. That what we're using, we're utilizing, they're looking to help us out on that, but it's important that we keep that line of communication open and make sure that, our indigent care monies are being spent as they're supposed to be. Now, we designated 3 or 3.5 million from indigent care for inmate health care.
I don't think it's that.
This is the amount that comes out of the indigent care fund,
How much?
1.8.
I thought it was.
It used to be 2, and then the task contract went up, and so that reduced the amount that went to the sheriff.
So,
That's something we probably need to revisit. Because if it doesn't come out of the indigent care, it's coming out of general fund. And that money is set aside by the citizens and by this commission to take care of indigent health care. And
so if we give them too much, would the other come back? It's best to give too much than to give too less. Then it come out of the general fund.
yeah, it's best to give the right amount and try to understand.
Well, that's
where
I think that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, but you don't. We would
Sure.
never know because you don't know how many people you're gonna have in there.
Oh, well, and with an additional extra
That's by
person.
contract.
how does that go?
If the money don't come from the city.
Because if you're incarcerated, your Medicaid is cut off, so that doesn't
But I thought it was,
transfer.
I'm gonna find out, because I thought it was, money came with that contract. From my understanding, my first meeting with them.
Birmingham?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It's
money
per
that
prisoner.
came with it,
Per prisoner,
right.
yeah. But is that enough to cover food and
Healthcare.
healthcare?
No, because most of the people coming from over there got a gunshot wound.
Yeah, it's like,
And it's, costs more.
The key is don't get out trade.
Yes,
Not always.
we have it. Yep, we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye. And we have, someone from Danny Carr's District Attorney's Office.
Yes, this is the DA's request to appoint two vacant deputy district attorneys.
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye. I have, 5 community grants.
Move items 1 through 5.
Thank you. It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the end of my report.
All right. Next, district number 1, Mr. Shell. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, thank you. Our report for Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. We have items 1 and 2. The first are improvements for Lewisburg number 1 and Pump Station number 2 improvements. Also, item number 2 is for ESD water reclamation facilities. That is software. And do we have anyone that want to speak to that, Calvin? You want to speak to it? Is that David?
David's here.
Yeah. David, you'd like to speak with it? If any commissioners have any questions?
I'll move 1 and 2. Second.
All right, and it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, Human Resources, we have no items at this time. Board of Equalization, we have a license agreement for $65,000. And this is for the Assessment Advisors Income Works contract renewal.
Move.
All right, it's been moved. Do I have a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Personnel Board of Jefferson County, we have a Conversion 1 second contract extension. Do we have any questions as it relates to this item? It is on the agenda for acknowledgement purposes only. All right, it's been moved and properly seconded to move to the agenda. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
General Retirement System of Jefferson County, there are no items submitted, and there are no District 1 other business. Thank you.
All right. County Attorney, anything to say?
No,
Add
sir.
to this? No. Quiet. Good. County Manager.
Nothing, we tried to see if y'all could meet December 14th or 15th, and we couldn't get everybody there. We may revisit that, to double check if schedules have changed. If not, we're shooting for the second week in January. So y'all can help us out with that.
Are you saying that we revisit December? Is that what you're saying?
But they have mudslides where I'm supposed to be going out of the country, and they are supposed to be on a conference call, I believe, and they're supposed to cancel to February.
Thank you.
So is the meeting that we're proposing to have, is that like a multi-day meeting?
No, it'd just be an afternoon.
Oh, it's just one afternoon. So really, it wasn't
We were looking,
13, 14, 15, there was
one of those
one
days
or
where all
those.
of y'all can get together.
Wednesday the 14th looks real good.
Not for you.
Who does?
We have a Christmas party for the senior services, and you are one of the guests.
That's Thursday, that's right.
That's the 14th.
That's 14th.
And it's 1,000 of them gonna be there.
Okay.
I'll call you out if you don't show up.
No, you can do that. I'll call these other folks, but I got it on the 15th, but that's okay. I'm good.
And we need some more money if y'all wanna use some money. It's gonna be at the Boutwell. About 1,000 senior citizens.
When?
On the 14th at 9 o'clock to 1. I would love for y'all to help financially support this. They had to get out and I don't know when. They're coming from all over Jefferson County. That's why we had to change the locations. And we started off having an investment and it grew. So now it's up to United Way and all of them. There's just around 1,000 senior citizens. They're going to be busing a lot of them in.
What do you?
And class training. We need more food, more door prizes.
Isn't this what Janice Williams?
Yeah.
And what they do?
All of us working on, yeah.
You know, I'll put $1,000 in for food. I don't know that I can go for door prizes or not. I don't, you ask county attorney.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, okay. I can go for my
And have a catering
$1,000.
expense for taken care of?
You know, because it grew, so
Penny.
you hate to turn it down. So, and the back porch investment is doing the food.
Well, Mr. President, I think, especially when you're talking about, we have senior centers in all of our districts, and most times, from what I've experienced, that when Commissioner Tyson and Janice Williams Senior Services, when they put on this thing at Boutwell, they typically get really good turnout. That being said, Mr. President, I would like to see if the county attorney can maybe perhaps we look at doing something out of our general fund so that that would be more of a meaningful amount, especially when you're talking about at the cost of inflation now. You're looking at probably between $15 to $20 per person per plate. That can get to be costly. So I know, Mr. President, that would be your intent, which would be if we did it, if you look at $20 a plate times 1,000 folks, that's $20,000.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be nothing really to ask, especially if we're talking about seniors who are coming out now in light of the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So if we could look at that would be great.
Jimmy gave, I gave 10,000. Jimmy gave 15, so he just gave another 1,000. So that's.
So you saying that
so we need additional.
No, I'm saying you gave 15.
I gave 10,000.
10, and then you did 5.
He gave 2,500.
So you did 2,500.
So he gave 1,500 at first. He just gave 1,000.
Another 1,000.
So there's 2,500.
So that's 2,500. I should be able to take care of it.
No, that's what I'm saying. We need more. Look, this is what I was doing. Can you see? If you had 1,000 participants.
Yeah, 20 people.
See, your other 1,000 have to be passed by the commission where we can transfer it over to senior service because we got to pay the patient.
So, before we leave then, if you did 10, and I'm hearing you right, you said you did 2,500. Is that what I'm hearing, Mr. President?
That's 2,500.
All right, and so 10 to 25, that's 12,500. And can we?
I'm confused. Y'all did this. This was done when?
It was done a couple of weeks ago when Commissioner Tyson had a community grant, had a resolution to transfer money over to senior services so that they can take care of it, because senior services is the one that's doing it all. And it was already passed, her 10,000 plus Commissioner Stevens 1,500, and now she's just asking for more money. So yes, it would have.
This is a community grant that's already been passed.
Right.
Yes.
So now you're talking about amending that agreement with some additional dollars.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Was there money already budgeted?
No.
Within the department?
So you're,
This was a
and,
community
in the
grant.
committee.
and so you all,
This event, if
No.
they're running the event.
No.
okay.
Not money budgeted.
So so what we're talking about is additional dollars that are coming from discretionary dollars, right?
Right.
Because any other general fund dollars, you have to talk with Ms. Dixon about any other dollars. So right now,
It's coming from.
so right now it is coming from discretionary dollars to amend that agreement, right? And if you'll get us that agreement, so we'll know what we're talking about, then we'll try to look at amending what you have.
And the amendment is President is adding $1,000.
Okay, we'll pull it out and then we'll get back.
No, but what I'm saying is that
Well, she's trying to
Commissioner
get it out of
Tyson.
the community into the general fund. That's what, I believe that's what.
Well, I was saying that it would seem to me that you could be able to, instead of individual commissioners having to take the cost of all of Jefferson County, because they bus them from all over the county.
I don't, that's a question for budgeting and where that money would be. You currently have the money. It's easy to do.
Oh, no, I hear to the wise and sufficient, I get it. So then what we will do is, I'm going to, I will add 5, you listening, Commissioner Tyson? So that's okay, they're gonna work it out. So if that's 12,500, then I'll put 5 to it, and then I'll get with, Commissioner Tyson and Ms. Williams, and I will make sure that I'm at the event too. So now you're at $17,500. And then between you and Ammons and Joe,
you said you was
5.
5.
Yep, and I'll be at the
I
event
didn't
too.
commit, I've got 11 already in the seniors this holiday season.
All of
Well, what
them.
I'm saying is that,
Well,
well, I'm just saying, you do know that they get them from all over the center, so. that'd be- Anyway, 5 from me. So, let me ask this question, Mr. President. Is it possible, County Attorney, that we can go ahead and entertain this item of new business right now so that we can go ahead and have it on the agenda for Thursday? Because we already know after this meeting, you're going to be already into the month of December. And typically, these catering companies like to be paid ahead of them providing the service.
Or do we just amend the contract we already have?
No, you got to vote on it.
Yeah, if you all want to move this to the agenda, move an amendment to this community grant for consideration to be voted on Thursday, subject to us going through the process and making sure that this can be doable under that community.
I so moved for one item for consideration of new business to amend the senior citizens contract concerning the Christmas party. For the amendment of
Commissioner Tyson
5,000
community grant, yeah.
and 1,000.
So let me speak to
If you just say the
let me speak
amendment
that
to it, we'll
motion.
get it right.
Right,
If you just
because
amend it, we'll get it right.
Right, that's what I was about to ask, because speaking to the motion, County Attorney, could we not, I'm still saying, could we not move this item in this committee meeting as an item of new business so that we don't have to take it up as an item of new business?
That's what you just
on
did.
Thursday? Huh?
That's what you just did.
Is that what we just, I thought you said on moving it on Thursday.
We have to
Move it from the agenda here.
But it's just to move it to the agenda. for Thursday
Okay, from today.
For consideration.
Okay, then second.
So that's for unanimous consent.
Yeah, motion been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who's aye?
Second?
It's your committee.
Yeah. Move the item.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There we go. We're done. Anything else? We're done. Thank you.
Look at this. Check all those numbers.